Proceedings are concluded. This court is adjourned.
All the shit I did for this motherfucking company? Man, you.
You ever had a great idea stolen from you and didn't know how to go about getting justice? In Charles Ford's The Anatomy of a Corporate Lynching, he takes us behind the scenes of his public copyright and civil rights lawsuit against his employer, Con Edison. In this explosive page-turner, Ford writes of an idea he submitted being taken and used without credit or compensation. In a book where no names have been changed to protect the guilty, Ford details how he stood his ground legally against theft and racial discrimination. Ford's exploration of a corporate lynching attempt inspires readers to pursue justice and fight back legally in the face of corporate opposition and retaliation. The Anatomy of a Corporate Lynching is available on Amazon worldwide in paperback and on Kindle. Find Ford at author Charles Ford on Instagram.
So Tamir Rice's mother, Samaria, has been really calling people out. These, so-called activists that show up every time a black man or a black child, dies. Now, a lot of times we're thinking at the time period, oh man, they out there riding for the community. But then we're finding out, a lot of these activists were just grifting. We've seen what happened with Patrice Cullors, how she was exposed to all this money about Black Lives Matter. Then Samaria called out Tamika Mallory about the same thing, about her and what, got everybody talking about her is what she was doing with that GM commercial. It's not that the commercial was an issue. It's more so what she was saying that stirred a lot of people up about that. Now, Samaria is calling out Shaun King. Now, Shaun King, he has been questioned on many fronts. Some people even call him Talcum X. A lot of people call him that. And they call him that because, people have questioned, is he a black person? He never really showed that he was. He said he is, but he never showed, anything that say, well, yeah, this my dad over here or this, anything like that, right? But that's always been in question for years. So Samaria called Shaun King out and she had made a post on Instagram. We'll go ahead and read that. So she put out, Shaun King, why do you think it's so important to tell folks we had a conversation? We talked and everything that was said was very toxic and uncomfortable for me to hear that you raised additional money and then say you did not want to bother me. She said, personally, I don't understand how you sleep at night. I never gave you permission to raise nothing. Along with the United States, you robbed me for the death of my son. Now, she says the United States, the police is a representation of your government. So when the police is harming you, your government is harming you. When the police is harassing you, your government is harassing you. See, our biggest problem is that we look at the police as this separate entity. Understand, they are the foot soldiers of white supremacy. Okay? That's who they are, the civilian version. Of course, they got a military version and they have the civilian version, which is the police. And we say, oh, we need police reform. No, we need government reform because they're only doing what you allow them to do and what you told them to do and what you trained them to do. So it's always been the government doing things against black folk. They're not no separate entity on their own. And they, you know what I'm saying? We have to look at it like that. So she's right about the government taking her son away. She says, continuing, you gave me a cop and donut conversation. It said, all lies, Shaun. Please stop thinking we on the same page. She says, as a white man acting black, you are an imposter that cannot be trusted. My son was 12 years old and the DOJ needs to reopen his case, period. He said, Tamir, human rights was violated. Why would you so ever make it about you? He said, you are a selfish, self-centered person and God would deal with you, white man. Now, that's what I was reading her quote verbatim. Now, of course, Tamir Rice, himself, if you don't remember, he was 12 years old at the time, playing with a little toy gun inside of a park. A Mzungu called 911, but he also said that I think it's a toy gun, though. He said that. I think it's a toy gun. But when the cop showed up, it wasn't even, not even 3 seconds, the cop gunned down Tamir Rice. He wasn't around anybody else. He was alone. He wasn't being threatening anything. This, white man killed Tamir Rice. Now, this happened in Cleveland, Ohio, on November 22nd, 2014. Now, of course, his death had received national coverage at the time period. But remember, Barack Hussein Obama's Department of Justice was in office and nothing happened. See, that's part of the stain of Barack Obama's legacy. See, he don't have a good legacy of black folk because he was in there for 8 years. He brought no justice. He had at least the first 2 years, he had everything under control. All his party. He had the DOJ. He had that too with Eric Holder and then later Loretta Lynch. They were hee-hawing around about everything. Think about it. Michael Brown, that happened underneath Obama. Trayvon Martin, Obama. Tamir Rice, Obama. There's so many of them. Philando Castile, Obama. I mean, it was happening left and right during Obama's presidency, and nothing hardly happened until the brothers and sisters turned up in the streets. This is why nobody respects Barack Obama. He didn't do nothing for black folk. Nothing at all. And let's say if the DOJ would do something now, he wouldn't get no credit. He wouldn't get nothing. This is why people come when they look at black folk look at him like, oh, what are he talking about? Because he didn't do nothing for us. We said let's talk about Obama for a minute while we're talking about this. Black folks that never voted in their life got out to vote. They said, man, we got a brother running. Shoot, I'm going to register to vote. I'm going to vote. They had so many black people come out to vote. Then white folks say, oh, shoot, where all these black people come from? Oh, hell no. We need to get these voter ID laws. Immediately they went to that because they never seen so many black people come out to vote. And we came out to vote for Barack Obama, and he did nothing for us as black people. Not for everybody, genius, Boule members, and Obama bootlickers. I'm talking about for black people. He did nothing. Well, brother, Obamacare, he did nothing for black people. Our condition was horrible. More of us was killed during the presidency of Obama in those 8 years than even Trump. Yes, George Floyd happened during Trump. Yes, it did. But there was way more George Floyds going on, constantly being killed. Corin Gaines, Sandra Bland. Oh, we can keep naming names that happened during Obama. He didn't do nothing for black people. Man, that's a video in itself, how he did nothing for black people. And yet we supported him. But he gave some signs at the time when he talked about reparations and all the things he was saying about that. See, we were where we at today, he wouldn't have got elected. He'd have went the way of Kamala. But anyway, so the remarks from Samaria Rice, were in reference to Shaun King on a recent podcast in the episode that he put out on Tuesday titled, I Spoke to Samaria Rice this past week. Now, they said that he deleted the episode and now listed among other episodes a breakdown with Shaun King, which is still available. Now, he was claiming that it was a much needed conversation. I learned a lot, listened a lot, shared my heart, and pledged we will continue to fight and get justice and accountability for Tamir, is what he said in the episode's description. Okay. He ended up saying that for the past 7 years, I left Samaria Rice alone. He go into detail about fundraising. Let me tell you something. All that little group that they had that you always seeing popping up, they were ambulance chasing the death of black men, women, and children. Definitely during the time of Obama. And they still doing it after. But the only reason Black Lives Matter kind of came back during George Floyd. Because after Obama got office, like everybody like, where Black Lives Matter went? Like, I mean, everything in Black Lives Matter when Obama was in there. But anyway, everybody was getting a bag off of all these names that we talking about here. Everybody getting a bag. You know, we noticed how Black Lives Matter were blatant about their LGBT agenda. They did not want the traditional nuclear family in the black community. They always showing up talking about Black Lives Matter, but they had no platform for black men at all. That's our first thing. They hurried up and took that down once we called that out. We knew that was suspect. And then later you see all the suspects like they got $90 million during George Floyd. And everybody say, hey, where that money at? Y'all finessing. And that's all they do. They want to finesse off of the death of black people. It turned into an LGBT organization. And then we talked about how they gave all this money to LGBT, trans groups. That's all they was giving the money to. Even the local chapters like, yo, what's up with all the money? So it wasn't just Samaria Rice and what she's dealt with. It was the whole outfit. Everybody was getting a bag. And everybody got their bag and went in the sunset. And that's sick and sad. And then y'all didn't even give the money to the victims of white supremacy. See, if y'all was smart like these politicians are, when you was getting the millions, what you should have did, if you was smart and you was trying to get a bag, is went and give a couple of million to his mom. That way, she probably wouldn't even see what y'all was doing. And probably wouldn't even had an issue with it because y'all broke bread. But since y'all so greedy, and you saying, F the victims, I'm trying to get the bag, me and my Mzungu liberal counterparts and other LGBT groups, this is why what's happening now. This is why black folks don't trust nobody talking about, we're going to raise some money. You know how my position are with raising money? Sometimes people tell me, Phil, you know, could you put up a GoFundMe and give money? Nope, I can't do nothing. I don't want my name or our company attached to nobody's GoFundMe. We're controlling. What I would tell somebody, if we believe in a project or whatever, you start the GoFundMe, give us the link, and then we will link it and tell people to go over there and donate if they can. We're not going to be responsible for no GoFundMe, no money, no nothing. Hell, I don't even raise anything over here. I don't say, hey, let's start a GoFundMe to do this. Sometimes it'd be cool to do that, but other people have ruined it. Other content creators have ruined it. Others say they're going to start schools and ruin it. And it makes me don't want to do nothing. So I'm like, because I don't want to hear no names. Well, this one tried to do it, and look at that one. No, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, it just, everybody trying to grift, hustle, do whatever, right? But that's foul. That's foul. But at the end of the day, they'll get theirs, and they're being exposed every day. That's why they have literally not relevant anymore, because they wasn't in it for the right reason. That's why. They wasn't in it to care for black people. Everybody was in there to try to get a bag. Then when Tamika Mallory was coming out, well, shoot, we got to pay our bills too. Well, why didn't you create your business and pay your bills? Stop trying to grift. Because I used to always say that, how do these people always show up in a protest? How you a professional protester? How does that happen? You know what I'm saying? Everybody usually got to go to work sometime. But you at every protest, no matter what time of day it is, you right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, no organization that we can know of is behind you. You're not solidified, but you pop up out of nowhere. Like, any black person pop up out of nowhere, I always question that. But leave me a comment. Let me think about the situation with our sister, calling them out. Calling the grifters and the hustlers out. It's a sin and a shame what they did that sister and the rest of the people.